Steve Spurrier made some comments last week that several of you guys have asked me about. So I'm here to talk about it. So, what did he say? Okay, this is a quote. He said, "There's a feeling around the Gators of what the heck are we doing? There's a lot of questions that I don't have the answers to about organization." Spurrier told this to Jacksonville.com. Continues the quote, "Just because you hire the most people doesn't mean you're going to win. All those extra people, I question how much that really helps. Billy is a good guy who works his tail off. I like Billy, good family man, but I wish the organization was a little more tidy." Okay, so listen, those are powerful words, right? And it caused big reactions from the fan base. And, there's a lot of Gator fans that have either commented on my YouTube channel or I've seen on other social media sites that really have said, listen, Spurrier is spot on. He is saying what we are thinking, and it is time to move on. And, the other perspective of that is that he's burying Napier even further, right? Steve Spurrier is what you think of when you think of Florida Gator football. So when he comes out and makes a statement that minces no words, that is this powerful, it does kind of turn the pressure up on Napier even more, right? There's no part of that statement that I think could be perceived as flattering to Billy Napier. Of course, I mean, he commented on him working hard and being a family man, which I think those are things that even Billy Napier's worst critic would agree with. He is a great person. He is working his butt off and he loves his family. Those are all true statements, no matter how you view what he has done at the University of Florida so far. But when the top dog, Steve Spurrier, comes out and makes that statement, it definitely makes the heat even hotter. So, what is my take? Okay, first and foremost, I think Steve Spurrier can say whatever he wants about whoever he wants because he has earned that right. This is a guy who excelled on the field for the University of Florida, Heisman Trophy winner, came back, won a national championship as a head coach of the University of Florida, revolutionized the college football game in the SEC. And I mean, truly, even before he got there at Duke, he did something that the Dukies had not done. He's a college football treasure. Goes to South Carolina, has some pretty strong success there. Some of all of our very favorite college football quotes come from Steve Spurrier. He is as a part of this game as anybody that I can possibly think of. He is college football. He is the University of Florida. He has the right to say whatever he wants. And we know that Steve Spurrier, one, never minces words, two, says what's on his mind. And, there's a couple reasons that he could make this statement because I also think Steve Spurrier is incredibly smart. I don't think he says anything by accident. So, what are the reasons he could have made this statement? I mean, it could be that this is a call to arms for Napier. He's hoping he's going to get things together, that he thinks maybe putting this criticism out there publicly is going to cause some action within, right? At Napier to self-evaluate here. And, his comments weren't about his coaching style itself. His comments were about the size of the staff. And, I think that comes from the fact that Coach Napier has been so forward about the size staff he's going to have. He's been so public about saying, we're going to have the largest staff in college football. We're going to be a machine. We are going to be so organized. This, and it's all related to the size of the staff. If you make statements like that, you have to be prepared to back it up. If Coach Napier had never mentioned that he was going to have one of the largest staffs in college football and that they were going to be so well organized and run like a machine, we wouldn't be using those criticisms against him now, right? I doubt anybody was going to go pull up and count exactly how many members are on Napier's staff versus anywhere else during all of this. We only know that because he told us that information. And, Coach Napier saying he's going to run one of the most organized programs in college football, that came from his mouth. So now when we see things that are perceived as disorganized, let's take special teams, for example, last year, those very same words get thrown back at you because you said them. I don't know that the criticism would have been Billy Napier's program doesn't look organized if we hadn't been promised the utmost of organization, right? He kind of did this to himself. But I'm hoping that maybe Spurrier made this statement so that Napier could make some changes, understand that this is a person who bleeds orange and blue, who lives and dies Florida football, and all he wants is the best thing for the program. And this could be like all right, let me get it together. Maybe he said it because he doesn't care. He doesn't care what anybody else thinks. He doesn't love the way things are going, and he wants it on record that he's not behind this. I hope that that's not the case, because I think that it is really important to support the head coach at the University of Florida, regardless of who it is, because that's your lead man at the time. We are Gators for life. We support the people that run our program. Another reason that he could have said it was to get President Sass's attention. I think that there's been so much talk that how do we change things? And there is a subsect of the fan base that believes that President Sass is the person that's going to make some changes here, that Napier isn't really the issue. It's the athletic director and the UAA as a whole. And because they believe that that's where the true problems lie, the only person that can really correct those are President Sass. And so maybe this statement is out there so that Sass reads it and thinks like, shoot, we're not on the right path. I just don't know that I think it's overall helpful to the program for that to be out there. I know that there are lots of fans that feel the same way. I know that there are those of you out there who heard those statements that said, now that Spurrier says it, it's okay. We say it online and we get attacked, but Spurrier is saying what we think. And I get that. I understand that there is a portion of the fan base that is incredibly frustrating. I just don't know that I think that putting this out there publicly is helpful to the program in any way. Now, I do know that Steve Spurrier talked with our good friend Buddy Barton a little bit about this. And one of the things he said was that his criticism on size of the staff is for the SEC as a whole, not just Florida, that these massive staffs don't necessarily yield better results. And I kind of wish it had come across like that. Instead of a direct criticism of Billy Napier, it could have been a criticism of the conference. It could have been a criticism of where we are in college football at this moment. That probably would have been better, because this did, whether it was Spurrier's intention or not, make the target even bigger on Napier's back, turn up the heat on that seat even more. We had Urban Meyer on a few months ago, and he talked about the pressure that he was under at UF, how it was never good enough. You won a national title, but you didn't go undefeated, so you better do better the next time. You won one, well, now the expectation is you win it every year. And he always felt like he had to do more, do it better, win more, win by a larger number of points, etc. The pressure cooker that is the University of Florida is unlike most places in college football. There are very few that have the same standards that we do. And Napier has to walk by a statue of Steve Spurrier every day and then work at a field that bears his name. The pressure is insane. And then you got the head ball coach himself putting even more pressure on you with comments like this. I just can't imagine that UF or the football staff and the administration can love this. At the end of the day, he is just saying what everybody else is thinking. But it's so much pressure. The last couple of years at UF have not been acceptable. 3 straight losing seasons. And Vegas says we're about to have a 4th. Spurrier isn't wrong. He got it right. And he has every right to say what he did. But I don't think he's making things any easier for Coach Napier. If anything, I think his comments tell you truly what the future is if UF doesn't turn things around this year. I'm not sure that I really need to dive into that, but you all know what the expectations at UF are. Coach Napier knows what the expectations are at UF, and we are currently not there. But I think the best thing that we can do as Gator fans is be all in, right? Let's get behind this team. Let's get behind this program. Let's see what can happen this season. The expectations are that Florida has to improve. That seat is hot. What are your thoughts on what Coach Spurrier had to say? Do you agree with him? Do you think that he really shouldn't speak out about that kind of stuff? Do you love that he called it out, calls it exactly like he sees it? Let's talk about it down in the comments below. As always, I appreciate you guys for tuning in. Go Gators.